listen to me very carefully. I just have an absolute earth-shattering epiphany.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, seriously, I have come to the realization that there are exactly two kinds of people in this world.
Just two.
Just two. There are the people who, like, get home on a Tuesday, completely exhausted, and casually throw together a mediocre box of powdered cheese pasta for dinner.
Right. Fully accepting their mundane reality.
Exactly. And then there are the people who sit down, watch Top Chef for exactly 1 hour, and suddenly, like, deeply, truly believe in their souls that they possess the sheer culinary genius to open a Michelin star restaurant.
And let me guess which one you are.
I am, without a single doubt in my mind, the latter. I mean, I watched one plating challenge, and suddenly I was mentally drafting my James Beard acceptance speech.
While literally eating a handful of dry cereal out of the box with zero irony, I assume.
Hey, it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, okay? It has complex flavor profiles. But anyway, babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and babes, you are amazing.
You really are.
Go ahead and share this with a friend, because babes, the snark is meant to be shared.
Snark Squad, welcome back. The wine is officially on deck. And, yes, watching this season has somehow fundamentally convinced the two of us that we are highly qualified, elite food critics.
All highly qualified, completely.
Even though we need to be very transparent here, we have absolutely zero professional culinary training. Like, we work with teeth all day.
Literally looking at bicuspids for a living.
Right? We are dentists. And yet here we are, fully prepared to relentlessly judge world-class chefs from the comfort of our couches.
We are the ultimate armchair experts. And honestly, our palates are impeccable. We have the range.
Debatable, but sure. Let's just do a quick vibe check on the beverages tonight before we get into the menus. I am currently holding a glass of, well, let's call it a bold red.
Okay, let's hear the tasting notes, chef.
If I'm standing at the judges' table giving this my official critique, excellent aroma, highly questionable financial decision.
Oh, we are doing tasting notes. Stop, let me get in on this.
Swirl it. Swirl it dramatically.
Okay, hold on. Let me swirl the glass. I need to look like Gail Simmons assessing a red wine reduction. Let me just hold it up to the ring light. Oh, yes.
What are you getting?
Okay, this is giving hints of dark berries, completely unearned confidence, and a massive rolling wave of poor impulse control.
Very accurate.
The finish is very much like, I am absolutely going to text my ex at 1 in the morning and regret it instantly.
Classic vintage.
I am going to give this wine a completely emotional, highly dramatic 9.8 out of 10. It is a triumph. It is speaking my truth right now.
See, I am immediately docking points. I'm giving it a 6.4.
A 6.4.
And frankly, that is generous. The bottle wasn't chilled long enough. The ambient temperature of the room is totally throwing off the tannin structure.
Oh my God, you are so pretentious.
And the mouthfeel is slightly aggressive. Do you know what happens to the polyphenols in a red wine when it sits in a 72-degree room?
I literally do not care about the polyphenols.
The alcohol volatilizes too quickly. It completely overrides the subtle fruit notes. It lacks the nuanced mid-palate restraint that I demand on a Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday.
Exactly. It's giving amateur hour. It needs at least 20 more minutes in the fridge to suppress that alcohol burn. But I have zero patience, so here we are, drinking warm grape juice like savages.
You are impossible.
Yes.
You are literally the Tom Colicchio of cheap wine.
Thank you.
You just want to break everything down to its molecular structure when I'm just trying to have a good time. But we actually need to pivot to real life for a second.
Unfortunately.
Because we both barely survived our first day back at the office. As you all know, we just got back from a long weekend getaway.
The lake house.
Yes. We rented this incredibly gorgeous lake house in North Carolina with all of our old dental school friends. And getting back into the clinical zone today, I was spiraling.
A complete, unmitigated post-vacation office spiral.
I was staring into a patient's mouth, holding a high-speed drill, just wishing I was back on the dock with a margarita.
It was a brutal re-entry into society. I mean, the adrenaline dump of a Monday morning after a vacation is a scientifically documented psychological phenomenon.
It is so real.
But what we absolutely need to address right now is the fiercely polarizing debate that was unlocked during this trip.
Oh no. Are we doing this?
We need to talk about camping food. Because this friend group is deeply fundamentally divided, and frankly, I was appalled by some of your takes.
I am still emotionally recovering from this argument.
When you are out in the wilderness, or, a very nice rental house adjacent to the wilderness, Your food profile has to adapt to the environment.
But we were talking about the logistics of feeding people outdoors. And half the group was defending the most chaotic, unhinged foods.
They are classics for a reason.
Hot dogs charred directly over an open fire until they look like literal carbonized tree bark. That is not food.
That is texture.
And s'mores that are dripping with way, way too much chocolate to the point where it's just a structural disaster all over your hands.
Structural disaster, yes, but delicious.
And don't even get me started on the logistics of campfire nachos. How do you evenly melt cheese over an open fire without burning the bottom layer of chips to an absolute inedible crisp?
You manage the heat.
It's a culinary nightmare. You have no control over the heat source.
See, you are completely missing the science of outdoor eating, and it shows. The rustic environment demands robust, aggressive flavors.
Aggressive is the word.
The open flame is unpredictable, yes, but that radiant heat creates an uneven Maillard reaction that you simply cannot replicate in a sterile, temperature-controlled kitchen.
Blah, 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 Maillard reaction.
I will fiercely defend breakfast sandwiches cooked on a greasy cast-iron griddle in the morning air. It is unmatched.
Okay, the breakfast sandwiches were fine.
The cast iron provides the conductive heat necessary for an even sear, while the ambient cold air keeps the butter from melting too quickly. And furthermore,
Here we go.
there is an undisputed, scientifically proven fact that potato chips eaten outside, specifically while sitting in a folding canvas chair, is fundamentally better than chips eaten indoors.
Wait, okay, that is actually so true.
Right. The salt hits differently when your olfactory receptors are simultaneously processing pine needles and wood smoke. It is a superior snacking experience.
But the marshmallows. We got into a screaming match over burnt marshmallows versus perfectly golden toasted ones, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
You take marshmallows way too seriously.
A marshmallow is mostly sucrose, corn syrup, and gelatin. It should be a slow-roasted, golden brown, caramelized pillow of absolute heaven.
It's just sugar.
It requires patience. It requires technique. You don't just thrust it into the flames until it catches fire, blow it out, and eat the bitter black ash. That is psychotic behavior.
That's efficient.
You are destroying the sugar molecules. And furthermore, I will adamantly insist until the day I die that every single modern camping trip absolutely requires a fully curated charcuterie board.
No, absolutely not.
You need cured meats in the woods. You need a soft, bloomy rind brie.
A charcuterie board in the woods is nothing more than an artisanal dinner bell for bears. It is ridiculous.
Bears like brie, too.
You want to be delicately slicing prosciutto while actively swatting away mosquitoes. And managing a microclimate of humidity that is rapidly turning your expensive crackers into wet cardboard.
It's about the aesthetic.
Be my guest. I'll be enjoying my slightly charred, structurally compromised hot dog like a true pragmatist. But, moving from the uncontrollable elements of the wilderness to the uncontrollable elements of the workplace.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about the dental practice today.
The highs and lows of modern employment are staggering.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you about my morning. The absolute hyper-relatable high of the day. Walking into the break room and seeing that my favorite dental hygienist brought in her homemade blueberry muffins.
Oh, score. That's huge.
I was unreasonably, viscerally excited. Like, I almost cried right there by the water cooler, the crumb topping, textural perfection. The butter-to-flour ratio was flawless.
That's a good high. But what was the low?
The devastating low. We had a staff meeting, and I was volunteered without being asked to run the office holiday party committee.
Oh, no. Rookie mistake.
I didn't volunteer. My name was just spoken into the universe by the office manager, and now I have to coordinate Secret Santa for 20 different personalities.
That is brutal.
I am emotionally devastated. I am drowning in administrative dread.
See, that is exactly what you get for making eye contact during a corporate staff meeting.
I couldn't help it.
You stare down at your notepad, you draw intricate geometric shapes, and you do not look up until the danger passes. It is basic survival.
Oh, I know. What was your day like?
My day had its own sarcastic counterpoints. The high. I found the absolute perfect prime parking spot right next to the side entrance. Flawless execution. A geometric triumph of parallel parking.
Oh, that is the best feeling.
A great start to the day. The low. I accidentally commented on the Office Sonos speaker, and suddenly I was elected the unofficial playlist DJ for the entire afternoon.
Oh, the pressure.
Do you know the sheer, crushing psychological pressure of trying to curate a playlist that satisfies the front desk staff, the dental assistants, and the patients in the waiting room simultaneously?
It's impossible. Someone is always mad.
One wrong move, and you are alienating an elderly patient with aggressive 90s hip-hop when they're just trying to get a cavity filled.
Right.
The decision fatigue was immense. It is a bizarre kind of performance anxiety.
Exactly. That panic of trying to curate a perfect experience under extreme pressure, that decision fatigue.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we see happen to elite chefs when they are thrown into the gauntlet.
Babes, enough about what we're eating and enough about our office drama.
Smooth transition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what everyone else is cooking. Because we have to get into this Top Chef recap. We are looking at the final menus and the culinary science breakdowns from the semifinals and the finale.
To figure out why some chefs crack under pressure and why others absolutely thrive.
We have so much ground to cover.
Let's start by setting the stage with the semifinals. Episode 13, we are in the Carolinas. The stakes are incredibly high. The fatigue is setting in.
They look so tired. Very tired. And the producers clearly decided to just throw every possible wrench into the gears to test these chefs' mental fortitude.
I cannot even handle the setup. Before we even talk about the food, I need to talk about the literal live snake that slithered under the judges' table.
Wild. Just completely wild.
Out of nowhere, this massive snake just glides right through the set. I would have quit the show on the spot.
You would have packed your knife.
I would have packed my knives, called an Uber, and gone straight to the airport. The girlies in their beautiful finale dresses were completely panicking, lifting their feet, and rightfully so.
The snake incident was reality TV gold. But analytically, it was a fascinating study in stress responses.
Because of calm.
Yes. What I want to note here is how disturbingly calm Tom Colicchio was. The man did not flinch.
Not a single muscle move.
A wild reptile is invading his immediate personal space. His limbic system should be firing off fight-or-flight signals, and he's just sitting there, completely unfazed.
We're probably contemplating the optimal rendering temperature of pork belly.
Exactly. His baseline cortisol must be incredibly low, or he is just completely habituated to the absolute chaos of television production. He has ice in his veins.
Totally.
But let's get into the actual culinary challenge that tested everyone's nervous system. The 20 questions quickfire.
Oh my gosh, the blind taste test? This was brilliant and so cruel.
Very cruel.
So Tom made this wildly complex cod dish. It had saffron, chorizo, mussels, white wine, butter, chives. It was a deeply layered, intimidating plate of food.
And the rules were brutal.
Yes. The final four, Rhoda, Sherry, Laurence, and Jonathan, had to figure out exactly what it was, using only 20 yes or no questions for the entire group, and they weren't allowed to touch it or taste it.
They had to rely entirely on visual and aromatic cues, which is a brilliant way to test a chef's olfactory bulb and deductive reasoning.
It was so tense.
But this is where we have to fiercely roast the chefs for their ridiculous line of questioning. The strategic failure here was mind-boggling.
Oh, it was so bad.
You have 20 questions total, 5 questions each. The mathematically optimal strategy is to use broad categorical questions to narrow down the protein family, the base starch, and the primary aromatics.
And what does Jonathan do?
He zeroes in on the most irrelevant, hyper-specific details. He asks about spinach and kale.
Kale.
There was nothing fibrous or green on that plate outside of a tiny, delicate garnish of chervil and chives. And then, the sheer absurdity of Jonathan actually adding white asparagus to his recreation of the dish.
Where did he see asparagus?
Was it a stress-induced hallucination?
He was absolutely hallucinating. I was screaming at the television. When you are under that kind of artificial constraint, your brain just starts making up information to fill the gaps.
It was a massive cognitive misfire.
Jonathan is so talented, but he gets these intense tunnel vision moments. But then we have to emotionally validate my queen, Rhoda.
She nailed it.
She walked away with $20,000 for winning that quickfire. And she did it by not overcomplicating the science. She just looked at the bowl, noticed the distinct reddish-orange tinge of the broth, and immediately thought, okay, what compounds create that specific hue in a Mediterranean flavor profile?
That's paprika or saffron.
Exactly. She trusted her gut, she didn't throw random asparagus into the mix, and she nailed the flavor profile. 20 grand just for understanding the visual chemistry of spices.
It was a surgical strike by Rhoda. Saffron contains a chemical compound called crocin, which is a carotenoid pigment that imparts that highly specific golden yellow hue to liquids.
Crocin, look at you with the science words.
Rhoda didn't let the sensory deprivation alter her common sense. She recognized the crocin, deduced the likely flavor pairings of a bouillabaisse-style broth, and executed.
Brilliant.
But that was just the quickfire. The elimination challenge is where things spiraled into absolute unhinged prop comedy. the unique vessel challenge.
Oh my God, the vessels!
They were forced to plate their semifinal food on the most bizarre objects the art department could source from a local antique mall.
It was so chaotic, I was losing my mind. Let's talk about Laurence.
Let's.
Laurence looks at the options and willingly, voluntarily chooses a vessel that is essentially a massive wrought iron candelabra holding 36 tiny tambourine bowls.
Tambourines. Actual tambourines.
And he decides he is going to serve Chung Fong's steamed rice rolls 4 different ways. 36 tiny bowls. Why would you do that to yourself in the semifinals?
Let's break down the sheer ridiculousness of that choice from a mechanical standpoint, but also applaud the psychotic work ethic it took to execute.
It was psychotic.
Chung Fong requires a very specific batter of rice flour and tapioca starch, spread incredibly thin, and steamed rapidly so it sets without becoming gummy.
And their commercial steamer was broken.
Right. He chose to make 24 individual steamed rolls for a challenge where the steamer wasn't even working properly. He had to pivot to using huge makeshift pots to create convection heat.
So stressful.
The thermodynamics of trying to maintain consistent steam pressure across multiple large pots in an unfamiliar kitchen is a nightmare.
And they were a little thick, right?
The judges noted the rolls were slightly thick, which happens when the steam heat drops and the batter takes too long to coagulate. But the ambition was staggering.
It really was.
He had Chinese sausage with shiitake, lobster with black bean, braised short rib, and a sweet potato dessert, all balanced on this massive, clinking tambourine tree. It was madness, but it was majestic madness.
It was pure theater. And then Sherry. Sherry gets this little wooden contraption that looks like a literal doll-sized clothesline.
The clothesline.
And she decides to plate gochujang braised short ribs, and she hangs the pear kimchi and the delicate garnishes from the clothesline.
It was so fiddly.
It honestly gave me traumatic flashbacks to past Top Chef plating disasters. Do you remember season 13?
Snot on a rock.
Yes. When Philip tried to plate warm oysters on a piece of dirty driftwood he literally found on the ground. Gail Simmons famously called it snot on a rock.
I was so terrified. Sherry was entering snot on a rock territory with her tiny laundry line.
Yes, the infamous refractive grill challenge from season 13. A dark day in culinary history that highlighted the dangers of prioritizing form over function.
Truly.
But Sherry actually pulled it off. The short rib was cooked perfectly at the shamrow. The collagen had properly broken down into gelatin, creating a luxurious mouthfeel.
And the judges loved interacting with it.
Right, the interactive element of picking the acidic pear kimchi off the line to cut the fat of the beef actually worked. But we have to snark heavily on Jonathan. We must address the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the carved wooden pumpkin on the pedestal.
Oh, Jonathan. It breaks my heart, but we have to talk about it.
In the final 4, the semifinals of an elite culinary competition, with a beautifully carved wooden pumpkin pedestal as his mandated vessel.
Don't say it. Jonathan decided to make bread and butter. A pumpkin seed dinner roll with a compound butter.
I could not believe my eyes. Look, you know I love carbs. If you bring me a warm basket of bread at a restaurant, I am thrilled.
Well, of course you are.
And let's defend the science of it for a second. Baking bread in a completely unfamiliar kitchen with unknown ambient humidity, trying to perfectly proof yeast and develop the exact right gluten structure in a short time frame, that is incredibly technically demanding.
It is chemistry.
Baking is chemistry. It is not just cooking. It takes massive skill to get a perfect crumb.
I acknowledge the biochemistry of yeast fermentation, but let's point out the brutal contextual reality here. It doesn't matter how technically difficult the gluten development is.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter how whimsical the pumpkin looks when you lift the lid. You cannot serve a dinner roll, especially when you didn't even churn the butter yourself from heavy cream and expect to make the finale.
He didn't even churn the butter.
It is deeply, fundamentally an incomplete dish. Tom liked the flavor, sure. But against 24 hand-steamed rice rolls from Laurence and a meticulously balanced, dry-aged ribeye from Rhoda,
Yeah, it's just a side.
a dinner roll is an accompaniment. Jonathan severely misread the metagame of the competition, and he cooked his way right out of the semifinals.
It was an appetizer for a meal we never got to eat. So Jonathan packs his knives, and we transition into the main event. Episode 14, the finale, the final toast.
The stakes are the highest they've ever been.
And first of all, I need to complain emotionally and loudly about the television network. who decided to change the time slot to 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the finale.
Completely unhinged scheduling.
Who is doing this to us? We are working professionals. We have patience to see at 8 in the morning. I was brewing an entire pot of dark roast coffee at 9 p.m. just to keep my eyes open for the winner announcement.
The 9:45 p.m. start time is a hostile act against the East Coast viewership. It's completely disrespectful to our circadian rhythms.
Disrespect.
But regardless of our sleep deprivation, the finale was set. We have our final three, and they are the Mochi Flight Alliance.
The cream team.
Remember from the quickfire earlier in the season, they were all on the cream team. Rhoda, Laurence, and Sherry. Three absolute powerhouses.
Let's detail the stakes here because they are massive. $250,000 cash, an appearance at the Aspen Food and Wine Classic, a feature in Food and Wine magazine, and a chance to headline a dinner at the historic James Beard House.
Life-changing money.
And the industry exposure is unparalleled.
And Kristen Kish lays out the prompt. It is the classic finale challenge, but with a beautiful thematic twist. A 4-course, progressive meal that serves as a quote-unquote toast to the people, the moments, and the heritage that shaped their lives.
I love that prompt.
It's a prompt that demands extreme vulnerability, technical perfection, and a very clear narrative arc across 4 plates. You aren't just cooking, you are telling a cohesive story through flavor profiles.
And to help them, they get to draft their dream teams. This was so good. They brought back 3 iconic alumni as mentors, Stephanie Izard, Sarah Bradley, and Joe Flam.
Heavy hitters.
And then the final 3 get to draft their sous chefs from the eliminated contestants.
Let's analyze these pairings because the draft always dictates the flow, the pacing, and the emotional stability of the kitchen.
Right.
Laurence gets paired with Stephanie Izard, which is a brilliant match for his bold, unapologetic flavors.
So true.
And he drafts Jonathan. The immediate snarky thought here, is Jonathan just going to bake him a loaf of sourdough and call it a day?
Literally. Is he going to hyper-focus on laminating a croissant dough while the main course duck inevitably burns?
Honestly, a completely valid fear based on the pumpkin incident, but Jonathan seemed locked in. Then we have Sherry, who pairs with Sarah Bradley, and she drafts Anthony.
And I have to scream about this moment when Sherry is talking to Anthony about their grocery shopping strategy at Whole Foods, and she just yells across the aisle, "Anthony, we have money."
It was iconic.
It was so iconic. It gave such major reality TV, sugar baby energy. We spent the whole season watching them scrounge for pennies on a strict budget, and suddenly the finale budget is unleashed, and Sherry is ready to drop thousands of dollars on premium proteins.
The behavioral economics of suddenly having an expanded budget is fascinating. We see this all the time, the paradox of choice.
They buy too much.
Exactly. When chefs have unlimited resources, they often overcomplicate their menus because they feel obligated to use truffles, caviar, and Wagyu just because they can afford them.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast to the constraints of the early weeks.
Totally.
But the most fascinating pairing, and we need to provide a deep analytical breakdown of this, is Rhoda. Rhoda pairs with Joe Flam, who notably also won his season after battling back from the grueling purgatory of Last Chance Kitchen.
Just like her.
But for her sous chef, Rhoda drafts Seeger.
Seeger, the absolute delicious irony of this choice.
The incredible irony. Seeger went home earlier in the season specifically for making a deeply flawed, grainy, improperly emulsified liver mousse.
And what is Rhoda's final menu leaning heavily on?
Liver sauce, but analytically. Seeger is the absolute perfect draft pick for her. Rhoda is a chaotic genius. Her flavor combinations are explosive, but her process can be visibly frantic.
She runs around a lot.
Seeger represents the psychological archetype of the methodical, serious, incredibly focused straight man. He is the anchor to keep her creative chaos in check. He literally read the challenge rules out loud and made sure she stayed within the strict parameters.
That was a brilliant strategic draft that balanced their opposing kitchen temperaments perfectly.
It really was.
Okay, before we get to the actual cooking, we have to talk about the emotional family dinner. The judges surprise the final 3 with a dinner, and then it's revealed that the dishes were cooked by their actual families who were hiding in the kitchen.
The tears were flowing.
When I tell you, I was sobbing on my couch, and Kristen Kish was crying. We love seeing Kristen's genuine, vulnerable connection to the chefs. She has been in their exact shoes. She knows the crushing psychological weight of the finale.
The emotional resonance of that dinner was incredibly high. It anchors the chefs back to their foundational why. But If you watch closely, you can see the strategic reality TV editing at play here.
Oh, you noticed that too.
The producers knew exactly what they were doing in post-production.
Mm.
During that dinner, Rhoda's confessional was heavily featured, deeply focused on her father, on trusting her intuition, and on the immense cultural weight of elevating Filipino cuisine on an international stage.
It heavily foreshadowed her eventual win.
Exactly. The narrative thread was being meticulously pulled right there.
Oh, totally. The editor's hand was visible, but I didn't care because I was too busy wiping away my own tears. All right, let's get into the menus. The final cook. Let's start with Laurence, my king of dim sum, his tribute to his mom.
Laurence built a menu heavily incorporating the flavor profiles of a classic Hong Kong bakery and traditional Chinese comfort foods. The historical origins of this cuisine are rooted in taking humble ingredients and transforming them through intense technique.
He started incredibly strong.
Course 1 was a savory congee dedicated to his mom and their family's restaurant roots. Congee is traditionally a peasant dish, but he elevated it into a luxurious comfort bowl.
Then course 2.
Course 2 was a crisp low-back go, a daikon radish cake paired with lobster sticky rice. The science of a perfect daikon cake relies on the exact ratio of rice flour to grated radish to achieve a gelatinous interior with a perfectly seared, crispy exterior.
The texture looked absolutely flawless. The judges were raving.
He was arguably in the lead after 2 courses.
He was completely crushing it. But then the main course disaster. I had a full-blown meltdown on my couch.
We need to roast him for this.
Roast him. He decided to sous vide the duck. He put a beautiful fat-capped duck breast into a plastic vacuum bag and dropped it in a water bath. I was screaming at the television.
A terrible decision.
When will these brilliant competitors learn? Never, ever sous vide a fatty bird in the finale.
It is the ultimate reality TV cooking curse, and it fails because of basic thermodynamics. You do not sous vide a protein like duck. Duck's skin is exceptionally thick. It's an evolutionary adaptation for waterfowl to stay insulated in freezing lakes.
It's all fat.
Right. It contains a massive layer of subcutaneous fat. To render that fat and create crispy skin, you need direct, dry heat. You need the temperature to hit roughly 130 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit slowly in a pan to melt the fat away.
And then sear it.
Exactly. Followed by intense heat to crisp the remaining skin. When you put it in a moist, low-temperature environment like a sous vide bag, the fat softens but doesn't render out. You trap the moisture.
And you are left with a flabby, chewy, unappetizing texture. The judges immediately called out the rubbery skin.
It was a massive technical misstep at the worst possible time, and the tragedy compounded with his dessert.
The white chocolate mousse birthday cake for his wife. It sounded so sweet conceptually, but execution-wise, it just missed the mark.
It was too simple.
It felt a little too one-dimensional compared to the absolute complex fireworks of his first 2 savory courses. My heart broke for Laurence.
It lacked the progressive elevation required for a final course. The palate needs a crescendo, and he delivered a plateau. Now let's pivot to Sherry.
Her menu was so cool.
Her menu was a brilliant conceptual framework, a Mexican Carolina through line. She was interweaving her rich heritage with the native ingredients of the host state, tracing the historical migration of ingredients.
I was so hyped for her menu. Course 1, snapper aguachile verde with fresh grape, serrano chili, and plantain.
Aguachile relies on that immediate hit of acid from the lime to denature the proteins in the raw fish, essentially cooking it without heat.
It looks so bright and vibrant. And then course 2, Veracruzana-style cod with chociotti, those little masa dumplings that are basically the Mexican equivalent of Italian gnocchi, and a castelvetrano olive tapenade. The flavors were singing.
Her progression was extremely logical and grounded in history, and I will validate that her 3rd course was a triumph of technique.
The barbacoa.
She served beef, tongue-in-cheek barbacoa, meticulously wrapped in collard greens. By all accounts from the judges' table and the general consensus among food critics online, that was arguably the single best dish of the entire night.
Why was it so good? Break down the science for us.
Because of the collagen science.
Mm-hmm.
Beef cheek and tongue are working muscles. They're heavily exercised by the animal, meaning they are packed with tough connective tissue and collagen.
So you can't just cook it fast.
If you try to sear them like a steak, they are unchewable. But Sherry used a low, slow braising technique, barbacoa, which applies sustained, moist heat over hours.
And that breaks it down.
This specific thermal process unwinds the tight triple helix structure of the collagen proteins and converts them into gelatin. That gelatin is what gives the meat that incredibly rich, melt-in-your-mouth, lip-smacking quality.
Oh, wow.
And utilizing the southern staple of collard greens as a sturdy, earthy vessel to hold that rich meat was master-level culinary synthesis. She was right there at the finish line.
She was right there. She was inches away from the crown. But then the finale dessert curse strikes again.
A literal meltdown.
Her fourth course was a contemporary arroz con leche using local Carolina gold rice and a vibrant cheerwine jelly. You know I love cheerwine. I love sugar. Conceptually, it sounded incredible. But what happened?
The ice cream melted.
The ice cream melted. Under the hot studio lights, the pressure of the kitchen, the ambient heat of the ovens, it melted into a puddle on the plate. And I was screaming the ultimate reality TV cooking rule at the screen.
Always pivot.
If your ice cream melts, you have to pivot. Call it a flowing cold cream. Call it a creme anglaise. Do not look Tom Colicchio in the eye and call it ice cream if it is a liquid.
It comes down to the thermodynamics of emulsions and the psychology of expectation. Ice cream is a complex emulsion of fat globules, air, and ice crystals. Sugar and alcohol act as freezing point depressants.
Okay, Mr. Wizard.
If your ratios are off, or if your ambient temperature spikes, the ice crystals melt, the emulsion breaks, and you experience syneresis, the weeping of the liquid. The minute you tell the judges, "Here is my ice cream," and they are looking at a puddle, you have failed the execution of the dish as advertised.
You broke the promise.
You've set a psychological expectation and immediately broken it. If she had just pivoted the nomenclature, which chefs do all the time, and called it a chilled sweet milk sauce or a modern creme anglaise, she might have salvaged the critique.
But you cannot serve Tom Colicchio soup and tell him it's a frozen dessert. It was the absolute nail in the coffin for Sherry.
Which brings us to our absolute champion, Rhoda.
A masterclass in Filipino excellence. I was cheering so loud in my living room, the first chef to win after battling all the way back from Last Chance Kitchen.
It is a grueling path.
And again, the incredible poetry of her mentor, Joe Flam, being a Last Chance Kitchen winner, too. It was culinary destiny.
We have to break down the absolute baller, intensely confident move she pulled right out of the gate. Rhoda skipped dessert entirely.
She just opted out.
In a progressive finale menu, where almost everyone feels psychologically obligated to show they can bake and conquer the pastry arts, she said no. She recognized her own strengths and weaknesses. She said, "I am making 4 savory courses because that is who I am as a chef."
And recall how Tom Colicchio explicitly praised her for that at the judges' table. He praised her for not forcing a sweet course that she wasn't passionate about. It showed immense maturity.
It was such a flex. And the dishes. Course 1, roasted sweet potato with miso butter, fresh sea urchin uni, and charred sweet potato leaves.
Uni is so delicate, it's basically luxurious ocean butter. Gail Simmons literally said it was possibly the most delicious dish of the night.
Then course 2, abalone luga, a savory Filipino rice porridge served with an incredibly rich abalone liver mousse. Liver. And she nailed the texture.
The redemption of the liver mousse, with Seeger standing right there as her sous chef holding the blender. The narrative is almost too perfect for television.
But let's analyze course 3, because this is where she won the competition on a technical level. Pertang Talong, a grilled eggplant omelet flavored with lapchiang, XO sauce, vinegar, crispy pork belly, and chili fish sauce.
Explain the XO sauce because it sounds intimidating.
XO sauce is an incredibly complex, spicy seafood sauce that originated in Hong Kong in the 1980s. It is a molecular umami bomb.
A molecular umami bomb, I love that.
It's made by slowly frying dried scallops, dried shrimp, chilies, garlic, and cured ham, or, in Rhoda's case, lapchiang, a sweet Chinese sausage. As these dried proteins fry in the oil, they undergo the Maillard reaction, creating hundreds of new flavor compounds.
So super savory.
The dried seafood is packed with naturally occurring glutamates. When you balance that intense savory depth with the smokiness of a fire-roasted eggplant and the sharp acid of vinegar to cut the fat, it is a wildly sophisticated flavor profile hiding inside what is traditionally a humble, home-cooked Filipino dish.
And then the finale, course 4, I was getting so genuinely emotional watching her plate this. Caldereta.
Beautifully done.
A savory braised short rib, finished with a rich liver sauce and seasonal vegetables, dedicated entirely to her dad. The ultimate tribute. She cooked her absolute heart out. She stayed true to her Filipino and Hawaiian roots. She refused to compromise her culinary identity, and she absolutely crushed it.
It was a flawless narrative arc, combined with a technically superior execution of proteins. That is exactly why she won. Which brings us to the final verdict, and of course a little bit of behind-the-scenes meta-snark regarding how this finale played out in the real world.
Yes. Cheer for Rhoda taking the crown. We love to see it. The first female winner in 6 years. Not since Melissa King in season 17. We were so overdue for this representation.
We were vastly overdue. But I do have to critically analyze the production security here because we have to talk about the wedding sites.
Oh, the drama.
Places like Polymarket and other online prediction markets completely spoil the season for hardcore fans who follow the data.
How does that even happen?
Prediction markets function by allowing users to buy shares in the outcome of future events. If a share pays out $1 if Rhoda wins, and the share is trading at 90 cents, the market believes she has a 90% chance of winning.
Right.
Weeks ago, while Rhoda was literally eliminated and sitting in Last Chance Kitchen on our television screens, she was listed as a 90% favorite to win the entire season on these markets.
That is insane.
The data was incredibly skewed. This isn't just people guessing, this indicates a massive information asymmetry. It means there was a leak from someone who was actually in the room crew, local vendors, family members.
Someone talked.
When real money's involved, people talk. The network has a serious operational security problem. They need stricter NDAs, or they need to confiscate phones on set.
It is so shady, because knowing the spoiler takes away the absolute thrill of the reveal for the viewers. But despite the leaks, Rhoda earned every single penny of that $250,000. What a phenomenal season. Okay, we need to take a breath, hydrate with our questionable, poorly temperature-controlled wine, and move into our favorite part of the discussion.
The segments.
The segments.
Let's do it. Segment 1, Pantry Raid. The rules are simple. We each get to draft 5 ingredients featured in this specific finale to create our absolute dream meal.
I am so ready.
We must defend every single pick, and we will fiercely roast each other's choices.
Yeah.
You go first so I can prepare my analytical critique.
Oh, I'm so ready for this. My draft is going to be emotional, it is going to be chaotic, and it is going to be incredibly delicious. Pick number 1, cheer wine, obviously.
Sugar water, great.
It's a Carolina staple. It's sweet. It's sherry perfection. I want it in a gelée. I want it in glass over ice. I want it everywhere. Pick number 2, fresh uni. The sea urchin Rhoda used. It's rich, it's buttery, it tastes like the ocean in the best possible way.
Okay, that's a fair pick.
Pick number 3, lap chang. The Chinese sausage from Rhoda's XO sauce. It's sweet, it's savory, it's the perfect meat candy. Pick number 4, carrying over from our fierce intro debate.
Do not say marshmallow.
Perfectly toasted marshmallows, golden brown, sucrose, caramelized perfections. And pick number 5, Jonathan's pumpkin bread. I don't care if it got him eliminated from the Final Four. I want to keep that warm, gluten-developed bread with compound butter right now.
I am staring at your list, and I feel like I am looking at the dietary diary of an unsupervised child who was left alone in an international specialty grocery store.
Wow, harsh.
You have cherry soda, raw sea urchin, sweet cured sausage, marshmallows, and bread. What's the cohesive flavor profile here? Sugar and ocean sludge.
It's called joy. It's called whimsical eating.
It lacks any structural acidity to balance the sweetness, and there is absolutely no textural contrast. It's a one-way ticket to a severe gastrointestinal event.
You just hate fun. What is your highly pretentious list, Mr. Michelin star? Let's hear it.
My draft is analytical. It is elevated. It is a meal that makes structural sense on a plate. Pick number 1. The dry-aged ribeye that Rhoda used. The umami, the slightly mushroomy funk of a good 45-day dry age is essential for a main course.
Okay, steak. Fine.
Pick number 2, Castelvetrano olive tapenade from Sherry's dish. It provides the briny, salty, necessary acid needed to cut through the heavy fat of the ribeye. Pick number 3, abalone liver miso. Earthy, rich, complex depth that adds an umami baseline.
Very heavy.
Pick number 4, collard greens, a sturdy, fibrous, earthy vegetable that can actually hold up to heavy, rich sauces without turning to mush. And pick number 5, truffle oil, used incredibly sparingly, just a few drops as a finisher, to bridge the earthy tones of the liver and the aged beef.
Oh, wow. Truffle oil? How daring. How incredibly original of you.
It's classic for a reason.
You are so pretentious. Who wants to eat a heavy plate of liver, olives, and truffle oil on a Tuesday night? You sound like you're trying to impress a food critic who hates smiling. I want warm bread and marshmallows.
I want a palate that doesn't resemble a carnival concession stand. But let's move on before we genuinely ruin our friendship. Segment 2, Restaurant Red Flags.
Ooh, I love this game.
Based strictly on the chefs and the challenges from the semi-finale and finale, we are assigning superlative red flags. First up, who would you trust to cook your birthday dinner?
Oh, we actually agree completely on this one. It has to be Laurence.
100% Laurence.
You just know, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is going to serve an epic, sprawling, family-style dim sum feast. He's going to come out of the kitchen sweating, carrying 24 perfectly steamed rice rolls, crispy daikon cakes, bowls of congee he would feed you until you literally could not breathe. He is the ultimate hospitable host.
Agreed. Lawrence's entire culinary ethos is built around comfort, abundance, and feeding the soul. But here's the flip side. Who would definitely 100% forget your order at a restaurant?
Jonathan. I love him so much, but Jonathan...
Hey, John.
He would get so incredibly hyper-focused on baking a single artisanal dinner roll for a VIP table in the corner that he would completely forget you asked for a main course. You would be sitting there for 3 hours drinking tap water, and he'd finally come out looking panicked, holding a single beautifully glazed baby carrot.
Jonathan would absolutely get lost in the weeds over a microscopic garnish and completely forget to fire the main proteins. Accurate assessment. Okay, next superlative. Who would somehow manage to burn water?
Oh, this is tough because technically they're all elite professionals.
I'm going to say seeker, but with a highly specific caveat.
Okay, let's hear it.
He wouldn't just accidentally burn the water, he would overthink the water. He would try to scientifically emulsify the water into a clear liver mousse. He'd leave it on the induction burner too long while checking a thermometer, and somehow it would scorch to the bottom of the pan. He would over-technique the water until it fundamentally broke.
That is so accurate. He would try to sous vide the water in a bag and somehow ruin the structural integrity of the plastic. Okay, final red flag. Who secretly belongs on a reality dating show instead of a high-pressure cooking competition?
I think we both know this one.
I am officially nominating Anthony, just based entirely on the moment in Whole Foods where Sherry is screaming, "Anthony, we have money." He was giving major Bravo reality star sugar baby energy in that grocery store.
Just was ready to spend.
He was ready to spend that production budget like he was on a shopping spree in Beverly Hills, put him on Summer House immediately, give him a cocktail and the camera crew.
Anthony was definitely living for the unlimited black card moment. I can absolutely see him stirring up drama on a dating show. All right, moving to segment 3. Midnight Snack Power Rankings. We are ranking our ultimate comfort foods, from elite to absolutely life-changing. We must debate every ranking, and we will refuse to compromise.
Oh, this is my specific domain of expertise. The elite tier, the absolute peak of midnight snacking, is mall food court Chinese food.
You're kidding.
I'm talking about the glossy bourbon chicken they hand out on the little wooden toothpicks as a sample. I want a massive styrofoam container of that at 1 in the morning. And right next to it in the elite tier, anything involving heavy melted processed cheese, a massive greasy quesadilla.
Gross.
And finally, a completely valid, highly sophisticated culinary technique. Driving to the drive-thru, getting a chocolate frosty, and aggressively dipping hot, salty, perfectly fried French fries directly into the ice cream. That is life-changing comfort food. The hot and cold contrast is elite.
I am listening to you speak, and I am physically wincing. Your palate degrades by the hour. By midnight, your culinary standards revert to that of a raccoon digging through a suburban dumpster behind a strip mall.
A raccoon.
Frosty fries. Food court chicken. This is trash tier eating. My midnight snack power rankings are actually based on science and digestion.
Let me guess, raw vegetables.
Elite tier. An elevated, savory congee. It is warm. The rice is completely broken down, so it's incredibly easy to digest before sleep. And you can add a little chili crisp or fresh scallion for brightness. It's soothing. Yeah. If I need something heavier. A massive bowl of spicy campfire nachos, properly layered cheese chips, so the thermal distribution is perfectly even. Because at 1 a.m., textural integrity is everything. You need crunch, you need heat, you do not need a massive sucrose coma from a milkshake fry hybrid.
Excuse me, I am a raccoon with impeccable, highly relatable taste in fast food. Congee at midnight, you have to actively cook congee. Who has the mental fortitude to stand over a stove stirring rice for 45 minutes at 1 in the morning? I am going to the drive-thru. I want immediate gratification.
We are at a fundamental impasse. Your midnight snacks are chaotic evil, mine are lawful good. Let's move to our final segment before we start throwing things at each other. Segment 4, Soft Girl Supper Club. We have to plan the absolute perfect, highly aesthetic, wildly chaotic dinner party.
Yes.
The ultimate dinner party fantasy. Okay, 3 guests from this season. Guest number 1, Kristen Kish. Because we love her empathy, and frankly, we love her tears. I want her to get emotional and vulnerable over the appetizers.
Valid choice.
Guess number 2, Rhoda. because she has to bring the caldereta. I need to taste that short rib liver sauce in person.
And guest number 3 absolutely has to be Tom Colicchio, not because he is a particularly fun time at a party, but specifically because I want to see if he will stay perfectly calm if another live snake appears in the dining room. I just want to test his blood pressure in a controlled environment.
We'll just casually release a garden snake during the main course to see what happens, just to test his cortisol levels. Okay, the menu. 1. Signature cocktail. We are taking direct inspiration from Sherry and serving a Cure wine and bourbon concoction. Sweet, incredibly strong, and highly dangerous. 1. Dessert. And we are going to be vicious here. We are serving a frozen ice cream dish, but it will be heavily, aggressively monitored by an armed guard to ensure the thermodynamics hold and it does not melt before it hits the table. We will absolutely not be serving a flowing cold cream under my roof.
Never. We demand structural integrity. And finally, one completely unnecessary luxury item for this supper club.
We are plating the entire meal, all 4 courses, on 36 tiny tambourines, just to force Kristen, Tom, and Rhoda to suffer through the incessant clinking and the minuscule, frustrating portion sizes. It's an immersive, highly annoying acoustic dining experience.
I am spiraling just imagining the dinner table drama, the tension in the room. Tom will absolutely judge the temperature of the wine just like you did. He'll be glaring at the tambourines, trying to figure out how to use a fork on them. And Kristen will definitely make a beautiful, incredibly heartfelt toast about her culinary journey that makes everyone, including the garden snake, start crying. It would be the greatest dinner party in television history.
It would be an unmitigated sociological disaster, and I would demand front row seats to observe the fallout. And with that, we have successfully dissected the culinary science of the finale, roasted the chefs, and extensively argued about the chemical composition of marshmallows. It's time to turn the conversation over to you.
Yes, to you. We need you to flood the comments right now. Tell us, what is the greatest camping food of all time? Are you team burnt, black marshmallow, or team golden caramelized marshmallow?
What midnight comfort food always wins in your house?
And most importantly, who cooked their way into your heart this season?
Thank you for showing up and surviving another completely unhinged breakdown with us. We appreciate you more than you know. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your favorite foodie, your reality TV addict friend, or whoever you fiercely argue with about the structural integrity of hot dogs.
Stay hungry.
Stay messy.
And we'll see you on the snark side. Seriously, if someone brings me a tambourine of food, I'm throwing it.